Here is a 2024 Audi SQ7 in Mythos Black Metallic over black Volcana leather in its fourth year, a 500 horsepower luxury SUV. Unfortunately, Audi doesn't offer an RSQ7. You have to go up to the RSQ8, in which that's more of a fastback or coupe design. It's only a two-row variant, which you have third-row capabilities, and this is going to be more traditional. I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides, and we have the black optic package on this example today, which is going to blacken out the front grille. We don't have the Audi Ring black out, which is another $400 or $500. But it's also going to blacken out the lower blades on the front bumper, the side view mirror housing, matte black for the roof rails in the lower trim, and in the back it's going to be on the lower trim. Unfortunately, the black optic package doesn't give us these upgraded 22-inch wheels that we had. That's another package that you have to tack on another near $2,000. But I would put it because it changes the whole demeanor of the aesthetics of this vehicle. The red brake calipers, that's also an additional charge. It's housing 6 pistons in the front. Audi offers a lot of packages to make this a lot more dynamic aesthetically looking and to give more performance, because we have the S-tuned suspension, which is also an add-on. Audi Matrix LED headlights and daytime runnings with the animation, which is the best in class compared to anyone. Even if you go into Porsche, Mercedes, BMW, they're not going to have that characteristic. Underneath the hood is going to house the 4.0 liter TFSI twin turbo V8 producing 500 horsepower and 568 pound-feet of torque, paired to an 8-speed Tiptronic automatic transmission. And it is a lot when you're considering this is still a family SUV with towing up to 7,700 pounds. It reaches 60 at 4.3 seconds, a top speed at 155 miles per hour. Now this is going to drink gas. You're going to be getting 15 MPGs for the city, 21 MPGs for the highway, but you expect that when you're getting near a $100,000 price point and it's a V8 twin turbo. Who cares? This is almost a track-worthy vehicle, and it's an SUV. It's a box on wheels. This example has the S Sport package, active roll stabilization, and sport rear differential. Now to talk for numbers. BMW, going to the X7, M60i. This is going to be faster than the 0 to 60. You have more torque. That's going to have a little bit more horsepower. Going to Mercedes, you can go all the way up to a GLS AMG 63. That's going to be just a little bit faster than this. You're going to have a lot more horsepower and torque, but if you downgrade to the 580, this is going to be faster, and that's actually the class that this fits in. Going into Porsche, the same thing. You're going to be spending at least $20,000 to near $50,000 more to get what you're getting in performance out of this, and for a third row variant, there's not a lot of them that back that performance, because if you go into the XP7, you're going to be over $160,000. At that price, you could buy this base and have it his or her, because it's around $90,000. Standard is a 21-inch wheel, but I've actually reviewed these vehicles base and fully loaded, and I would recommend spending the extra few $1,000s. I know it's going to enter into the $100,000 territory, but it changes the whole look of the vehicle aesthetically speaking, and it's going to give you more soft materials in the interior. LED tail lights in the lower gets the quad exhaust tips, gloss black, with the gloss black that's going to surround on the top bit with the grille pattern. Front and rear parking sensors with a 360-degree reverse camera. Power liftgate going into 14 cubic feet of storage. We have a 12 volt, a storage nook underneath the floor. Does not receive any storage, but one nice thing is you can lower or raise the suspension in the back. It'll lower it to make it easier for you to load in items. Only disadvantage is you do have to hold the button in order to raise it or lower it. And then electronically fold the third row down to increase your cargo capacity. You also have to hold the buttons down in order to do this. Now, to put the second row down, you have to go inside and you pull the lever. Hear the click. It's going to max cargo to 70 cubic feet. We need to go inside this twin turbo V8 so you can hear that exhaust note. 18-way power seat adjustment for the front, heated, ventilated Volcana leather with the S Sport seat design, memory for the driver. Headroom and leg room. It's going to have a lot of space in the interior for the front footwells. Sport pedals. You get the carbon fiber inlays, gloss black elements in the surrounding with satin aluminum, ambient lighting, quattro badging, and the more hidden air vents that everybody is more or less copying nowadays. This is not a leather upgrade, nor is the center or the armrest. You have to pay extra for that, and the same thing for the headliner. We don't have a heads-up display. We do have the toll module, which is built into here, auto-dimming rear view mirror, and a large pano that goes to basically the second row and a touch of the third row. Going into the MMI touchscreen on the top, it is a 10.1-inch Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Sirius XM, AM, FM, streaming Bluetooth audio. If I can get the thing to slide. Go into the vehicle settings so you can see the dynamics that we have, in which you have a lot of different configurations. Go into the individual and you can tailor this as sport derived or as quiet for the exhaust note as you would like. Throw it into reverse and you're going to see the 360-degree reverse camera, full trajectory for the front and the rear. Click onto these little icons and you can see a lot of different camera positions to make it a little bit more easier for you. The lower is an 8.8-inch for the climate control, and when we close this, you can also do it for the back seat as well, and the driving mode select buttons here. You can also turn the top screen on or off to make it a little bit more seamless. Leather around the shifter, the carbon fiber with the ambient lighting, gloss black materials, and the key fob for the SQ7. With a 12 volts, open up in here, Audi phone box, and a little storage area that you can put some key fobs if you need to, USB ports, and a little storage here. This also adjusts forward and backwards. Leather wrap steering wheel, 3-spoke, heated with the S badging, multi-function. The paddle shifts and a 12.3 digital reader that can go through an array of information for the driver, including turn-by-turn navigation or the full navigation display. The dash and the door configure into each other. Carbon fiber comes inside, and it is soft to touch where it needs to be, one touch up and down for all the windows, and a large, deep storage pocket with a storage for the driver. For the second row, headroom and leg room, storage behind both of the front seats. These are heated and ventilated in the back because of the executive package. Dual climate control settings, USB 12-volt air vents in the center and the side. And the nice thing is, look at this. You just touch it and it'll turn on. The sunshades, they're manual. This is also part of that package. The door panel gets the carbon fiber, and you're not going to have the soft touch up here, but it's soft where it needs to be, with a cigarette ashtray and a medium-sized storage pocket with more or less a flask holder carved out. These seats recline back, which can go pretty far. You also have a center armrest. I can open it up with cup holders in the center. Sliding into the center, the floor is not completely flat, so you will be sharing some feet space. The rails are pushed up enough, but in shoulder space isn't that bad. You can see each seat has its own area, and for headroom, I can fit. To enter into the third row, push the lever, you hear the click, push here, you'll hear that, raise it up, and it actually has a really good opening for the third row for two more to fit. You're gonna get a cup holder on both sides. The windows are pushed back enough. Headroom is actually not too bad. And to show you, leg space, gonna be a little tight. Not a big fan of the double pushing levers. If they recline the seats back, no room at all. So I wouldn't recommend it unless it's a quick drive. 500 horsepower, it's insane for a luxury and family slash sports car SUV. It's all blended in. This is a traditional SUV. When I do Mercedes or the AMG GLS 63s, those are hand-built engines, I am always impressed by how the numbers perform, and this is an example that's a lot cheaper. It starts in the 90 grand price point. Would I option it base Probably not. I would at least get the black optic package. It's around $1,500. I would upgrade the suspension. That's over $6,000. And it also gives you the red brake calipers. And then the wheels is going to be a choice between the buyer. For me, $1,500, I would say, what the heck? 21 inch to a 22 inch, it does look night and day difference, because at a standard look for the SQ7, it's very understated. Once you start dressing it up, then it looks basically the key of performance. Going against rivals before we get into actual performance in the drive, it's the sweet spot, because you could load this up and you're going to be maybe $110, $115, in which none of the vehicles that it's in the same class is going to be even comparable. Go into Porsche, go into the Benz, go into the Beamer. All of them either 120 to 150, give or take, depending on the features that you add in it. That's why when you're thinking 500 horsepower, now you can put that in perspective. And 7,700 pounds of towing, this is pretty insane. I've actually seen this vehicle towing a large boat when I went up north with my personal SUV. Now, I wanted to buy this actual vehicle. I called several dealerships, and unfortunately, they do not offer where they'll pick up my vehicle and drop me off a loaner for an oil change. And I know I might sound like, oh, that's not a big deal. When you're spending over $100,000, you don't want to sit at a dealership for 3 to 4 hours, considering you do that with cars that are $20,000, $30,000. So what am I getting as a bonus besides the power underneath the vehicle? And that's the biggest problem that I have with the Audi. Now, as for what this engine is capable of, 4.3 seconds top speed at 155 miles per hour, that's a lot to swallow when you're considering it's a third row variant. It would be awesome if they offered an RS Q7, because truly that would just unlock so much more performance. You're in the 0 to 60s is under 4 seconds. So what does 500 horsepower sound besides on paper? Like this. You're gonna get a touch of lag. The braking is pretty good because it is a heavier vehicle, and the turn radius, it can pretty much stop on a dime. As you're seeing, it's about 2 and a part lane. And that's why the RS Q8 just goes a step above. I know it's a lot more power on that variant, but when you're considering the seamless flow between the twin turbos, that's kind of where it's at for the sweet spot, because you will feel some lag on this one, especially around, I would say, 2 to 2,500, and then it just kind of takes off. If you want it to be a more comfortable ride, put it into comfort. Last year we got acoustic windows for everywhere, so the sound deadening is good. I don't hear the exhaust hardly at all, and it is a smooth drive even with 22-inch wheels. Another pro about the vehicle is it's not as long as an X7. So when you're considering, this is still not necessarily the largest. It is the largest vehicle Audi makes besides the A8 or S8 sedan, but it's not like a boat, and it doesn't feel that way. It still feels dynamic the way they actually have sculpted the interior, even though this is a traditional box SUV. Some cons: adding a pass-through would be a lot better for me because there's not a lot of storage. The cup holders are basically enough for a 20-ounce bottle, in which if you have another occupant sitting next to you, the door pockets don't really have that much storage either. You have to add packages in order to get the sunshades. That to me is definitely a con, because when I'm at a 90 grand price point, they should be throwing that in, and you don't even get it for the third row. So it's kind of like you're paying the extra. Yes, I'm getting the ventilated heated seats for the first and second row, but BMW gives it to you in the third row. So again, just adding the features up will add an extra $10,000 to $15,000 to premium, but it's still the sweet spot because of 500 horsepower that's derived underneath the hood. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Check out the next video, merchandise, website, and Instagram. Leave a comment and a like. And I'd like to thank Audi Tampa for giving us this 2024 Audi SQ7 for our car review.